And we are going to first hear from the phenomenal Sheriff Lupe Valdez. I don't think that there's anyone in the room who doesn't know who Lupe is. I'm not sure there's anyone in the city of Dallas who doesn't know who Sheriff Lupe Valdez is. She was first elected to be our sheriff, Dallas County Sheriff, on November 4th of 2004. Can you believe it's been that long? Yeah. And so upon winning that race, she of course became the highest ranking law enforcement officer in the county of Dallas. She is one of the few female sheriffs in the entire country. She's the only Latina sheriff in the country. And yes. And we probably don't really have to say this without you already knowing it, but she is the only open lesbian sheriff in the county, in the country, ever. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage Sheriff Lupe Valdez.
Oh, I can't see y'all. His introduction was longer than my speech, so, you know, it's hard to see, and I love to talk. And can I do this without the mic? Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you. Can I carry the mic? And just there. Thank you. I can see you now. You know, what politician doesn't want to see who is talking to? In the front. Not gonna work. We'll keep trying. You know, about 20 years ago, I was a federal agent, and it just went through the grapevine that if you wanted to work for Dallas Police Department if you were in the LGBT community, then you had to lie. And shortly after that, in 1990, someone named Micah England decided, unfortunately, we've never had the pleasure of meeting, but she decided she was not going to lie. And the DPD who recruited her from Oklahoma, who thought she had wonderful qualifications, all of a sudden, for the next, month and a half, totally smeared her all over the newspaper. I don't know if you all remember that. I was a federal agent and very much in the closet, and my soul hurt to see what the department was doing to her. In 2004, when I ran for office, I got all sorts of comments, hate mail, and verbal attacks. As a matter of fact, one of my friends delights in sharing the story when she told her mother, who lived in Florida, I have a female Hispanic lesbian friend that's going to run for sheriff. Her mother said, it'll be a cold day in hell when Dallas, Texas elects a Hispanic female lesbian. Terry takes great joy, and she delights when she says this. The next day, she calls her mother and says, it's a cold day in hell. There was a lot of excitement, and of course I got calls from all over the world. I couldn't understand this. All I wanted to do was go in and take over a department that I thought needed some help. And all of a sudden, I'm getting calls at all hours of the day and night wanting to talk to me in a radio interview or something. I got a call about 2 a.m. And there was somebody on the radio who wanted to talk to me. And I said, do you know what time it is? He said, we don't care. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we want to get you on the radio. And I said, what is the big deal? What is the big deal around here? I just got elected sheriff. And he said, you don't know what you did you? You're a Hispanic, female, Democrat, lesbian, and in Bush's backyard. My campaign, but my campaign at that time knew that I liked silent retreats. There's something about constantly being on the go and constantly being active that you just need some quiet time. And they surprised me and put me on a plane and sent me out. They had everything ready. And as I was getting in the plane, this lady kept staring at me. I just won. It had been about a week since I won in 2004. And that lady kept staring at me. And I kept going, oh my goodness, here we go. Somebody just keeps staring. And it was Southwest, you know, so you go to the cattle car, and pardon no, so you work for Southwest. I ended up going way to the back of the plane because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted some peace. And sure enough, this lady comes along and boom, sits right next to me. And I'm going, oh my goodness, here we go. And I started wearing glasses then. I used to wear contacts. I thought maybe people won't recognize me if I wear glasses because they were stopping me everywhere. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And before I go any further, thank you for those of you that voted for me. If you didn't vote for me, don't tell me. But if you voted for me, thank you so much. Anyway, I get in this plane. This lady starts talking to me. Are you Lupe Valdez? Are you that lesbian from Dallas that won? Yes, ma'am, I am. And I'm sitting there going, what does this woman have in common with me? She told me she was from one of the nicer, from the further, not nicer, but one of the other counties that have their financial is a lot higher than us. And she was telling me that her husband was a football coach and that they were down in the valley playing a football game and she was going to go meet them. And I'm listening to all this and I'm going, what does this woman want with me? She's well-to-do, she's Anglo, she's suburban, and for all I know, she's probably Republican, you know. So what does she want with me? And then she says, my son is gay. Okay. 2004, please, let's go back about a decade. 2004, she said, we sat in front of that TV in another county, and we were so thrilled as we saw your numbers go up. You had a family cheering in the living room. And I said, well, tell me about your son. She said, well, I need to tell you that we were so scared we were going to lose him. He didn't come out to us. And I can see the picture. Father, high school football coach, and he's probably not want to play football. Maybe he's good at doing other stuff, but certainly maybe not football. And I can see the picture. And so she said he wouldn't come out to us, and he would go into his room, and he would be there for hours, and we were so afraid he was going to commit suicide. He was so depressed, and we were just scared we were going to lose him, and we didn't know how to talk to him. And I said, well, how's your son now? He says, oh, him and his partner come over every other week and they sit and have supper with us and they're in college now. And so we were delighted at some of the stuff that she was telling us. And as we get up, we land and I get up to leave, she says, I have to take my picture with you. My son will never believe that I sat next to you. And then the neat thing is she turns around and she says, your election validated my son. And at some point, I wanted to scream, why do we have to go through such trouble to get validated? What about the person, the junior high person, I guess they don't call them that anymore, secondary school person in Muleshoe, Texas? Who's validating them? Who's taking care of them? But we've got to do our part. Nothing has changed for a while. This afternoon, we dedicated the groundbreaking for the Resource Center. In 2008, when I was running for re-election, and again, there's so much that happened that first year that was so painful, and then I got elected again, and the people who were causing that just about gave up. Because they basically said, she's going to get elected, we can't stop it. So thank you. Again, thank you so much for getting me elected. But in 2008, when I was running, the resource centers came to me and said, why don't you let us do your diversity class the way we do DPDs? And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. And they said, come on, let us do it. All right. But I'm telling you, these people are a little vindictive. Well, we let them do it. Somebody stole they were supposed to hand back a questionnaire. Somebody took the questionnaire and went immediately to the Dallas Morning News and handed it to them, and all the questions there, at this time, they don't sound very provocative, but back then they did. And for the next week and a half, I was on the front page about how I wanted to change everybody with the gay agenda. But you know what? It happened time after time after time. I sent some people to what was then the Bill Brady bill. They were trying to deal with guns. Guess what? We're still dealing with the same stuff. But I sent some captains over to a community meeting, and I said, please handle the community meeting for me. 5 years later, somebody in that community meeting said to me, those guys, after we finished our meeting, turned around and said, you don't have anything to worry about. We're not going to let her do anything. Anything she tries, we're going to kill it. So that gives you an idea of what I had to go through for the first 5 years. But listen to me, folks. We have to do our best, no matter where we're at. We have to give our talent to the community. When I was running the first time, because a lot of the guys thought, in the department, thought that my opponent was going to win. They were very verbal, both in the media and the radio, and the social media wasn't as popular back then, but the radio, the TV, the newspaper, they made all kinds of comments. And I can't even verbalize some of them about this person would never take over our department, and no blankety blank blank was going to lead this, the strongest group in Dallas. Imagine their surprise when I won. These are the people that I was now going to be their boss. And they had not been afraid to verbalize in front of everybody what not only they thought of me, but what they would do to the people that actually supported me in the department. Thank you. So when I came in and I said, I want 2 hours with every captain and above, and bring your resumes. So the first couple that came in, I remember one individual who came in like this. And he sat down. And I have a habit of, if it's the first time I see you, I come from around my desk and sit next to you. I don't, maybe the second or fourth time, maybe I won't even look up from the computer. No, I'm just teasing. But the first time, I will get up from behind my desk and sit next to you, because I need to talk to you, not from something between us. So of course he comes in like this, and I get up from behind my desk and go sit next to him. And it just got a little bit more intensified. But we talked for a little while, and then I said, so what are you so afraid of? And he said, remember some of the stuff they said they were going to do to the people who supported me? And he was one of them. There was a whole bunch of them who were saying, we're going to do this to you and do that to you. And law enforcement has not always been the most upfront about doing totally the correct thing. So I can only imagine that they would have gone through with some of this stuff. And so when I said, why are you so afraid? He said, I don't know what you're going to do to me. And I said, let me tell you what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to give you the best resources I can give you. I'm going to give you the best training that I can give you. And then I'm going to try to put you in the best area for your talent. Of course, after that, nobody was afraid. They all just came walking in. And needless to say, the attitudes did not change. But the truth is, I never changed either. I continued to be what I said I would be when I got elected. And we have to do that. We have to give the other cheek. We have to stand up and be the person that we need to be. Do you think that I would be here talking to you if I had failed in leading this department, if I had done a lousy job in leading this department? It's taken hours and hours and years to do the right thing. Our worth to society is obvious, but we must make our worth better by growing, learning, sharing. We cannot sit back and expect for things to become better without us doing our part. Thank you very much.
what I'm about to say and do was not planned at all. I just decided when I was back there listening to her that we were going to do this. I guess if you're the MC, you get to do that, right? I told her to stay here for a second and not walk away. Lupe, I just want to say to you, there was so much more I could have said in the intro. I wanted to just keep talking and talking. But for 30 years, this woman has been in law enforcement on the federal and state level. And for the last decade, she broke that ceiling. She made the huge milestone that she made of becoming our sheriff. But I just want to say, Lupe, on behalf of all these people in our community, thank you for what you have done for us, for the way you have represented our community, and most importantly, for the way you have served us in a phenomenal way in the job as sheriff. You have done a phenomenal job, and we love you, and we appreciate you.